Hey settlers, I'm your host, Ben. And here is a hidden story that I feel needs telling. The true story of the riddle of Fairford Church bells. Fairford, Gloucestershire. Well, Gloucestershire, Wiltshire is basically right on the border. A market town of winding lanes, stone houses, and a church renowned for its medieval stained glass. Yet, for decades, it's not the windows or the architecture that draws the curious every December. It is the bells of St. Mary's and the riddle they bring. Every year on the winter solstice, as the sun sets early and the frost tightens its grip on the old stones, the bells of St. Mary's ring out tunes that no one can find in any hymn. Never the same 2 years in a row, but all close enough to stir a memory. The tradition, locals say, began in the 1970s when the church bell ringers first noticed an extra chime after evensong. The tune lingered in the air, unsettling yet beautiful, and it became clear it was not part of the service or the standard peal. At first it was dismissed as a slip of the hand or a bell that was stuck in the cold. But the pattern repeated year after year, only on the Solstice. By the late 1980s, people began to suspect the melody was not an accident. A music teacher, Lucy Ellison, wrote the notes down after hearing them outside the church. She noticed irregular pauses and repetitions, a rhythm she described as almost Morse code. Curious, she brought her scribbled tune to the local pub, where a visiting codebreaker from the nearby RAF base came intrigued. Together, they mapped the tune to a sequence of letters, using the intervals as a kind of cipher. That winter, the bells spout out, Old Gate Post. The next morning, Lucy and the codebreaker searched the churchyard's oldest gate, where, tucked behind the stones, they found a small, weathered wooden box. Inside was an old iron key, tied with a faded red ribbon. No note, no explanation. Over the years, the bells tune became a minor obsession for some and an annual puzzle for others. Each solace, the new melody was recorded and analysed. Not every year led to discovery, but when someone cracked the code, the pattern was always the same. The bells would point to a location somewhere in and around Fairford, sometimes within the church, sometimes in the village green, once even beneath a bridge at the edge of town. But no matter what, always something was waiting to be found. An old diary, written in a looping hand, described forgotten village traditions. A child's shoe, wrapped in oilskin with the initials TH burned into the sole. A locket containing a faded photograph, never identified. No one ever claimed responsibility for the riddles. The church bell ringers interviewed in the 1990s insisted they played only the assigned hymns and peals. None could explain the tune that played after evensong. Attempts to catch the mystery ringer failed. The bells were always watched on Solstice night, yet the tune seemed to ring out from the tower on its own. The ropes remained unmoved. The vicar at the time, Reverend Harper, suggested the phenomenon was a benign haunting. Others whispered about secret societies, old Fairford families with something to hide, or even a clever prank sustained for decades. For many, the bell riddle became part of Fairford's seasonal rhythm. Children tried to decipher the melody with toy xylophones and battered cassette players. The town's amateur historians logged each year's tune, comparing them, looking for patterns. A few visiting journalists wrote articles, but no one managed to solve the mystery's origins. Occasionally, the objects found after decoding the bells proved significant. The diary, once transcribed, revealed the site of a lost parish boundary stone, now marked and preserved. The iron key matched a chest discovered years later, unlocking a collection of 19th century parish records. Even the children's shoe was eventually dated to the 1860s, a protection charm placed by Victorian villagers. In 2009, the bells were silent on Solstice for the first time in living memory. Some in the village reported that heavy snowfall had damaged the ropes, making the tower inaccessible. Others swore they heard a single bell at midnight, distant and muffled, but could not be sure. No code, and nothing was found that year. The next year, the tune returned, more intricate than ever. In 2010s, phone recordings of the Solstice tune were uploaded to online forums and Facebook. Codebreakers from far away as London, and New York joined in the annual tradition. One year, a group of university students used an algorithm to decipher the code within hours of the bells ringing. The message was interpreted as oak, tree, green. At dawn, they found a small tin box at the base of the oldest tree on the green, containing a pressed flower, perfectly preserved. The finds became a badge of honour among locals. A teacher at the primary school hid the year's objects in the village museum for the class to study. Occasionally, the object would be something as mundane as a button, or as strange as a handwritten confession. On the most recent winter Solstice, expectations were high. The church was crowded with villagers, curious visitors, and those determined to finally catch whoever set the riddle. At 4:01 p.m., as the sun vanished below the rooftops, the familiar peal of the bells began, then shifted into Solstice melody. Dozens of phones recorded the tune. This year, however, the code took longer to crack than ever. The final message, decoded by 3 separate groups, was simple: dig beneath new post. Confused, the villagers scoured the churchyard and green. No new posts had been set in the past year. Accounts confirmed that no construction or repairs had occurred. But late that night, as the crowd dispersed, a group of children noticed a small, freshly dug hole beside the church's main gate. A wooden post, plain, unweathered, stood in the spot, its base packed with loose earth, hidden in plain sight. Beneath it, buried shallowly, was a note sealed in plastic. The message read, "You are early. The real treasure will be hidden here next year." No further explanation, no signature. Fairford Church Bell Riddle remains unsolved. No one has confessed to setting up the puzzle or placing the objects. The bells themselves show no evidence of tampering, and the annual tune remains a mystery to both musicians and engineers. What is certain is that the tradition has become part of the town's identity, a shared enigma woven into the long Cotswold winters. Each year, as the light fades and the frost sets in, Fairford listens for the bells, and each year someone new tries to crack the code, hoping to discover what lies hidden in the heart of the town. The Fairford Church Bell Riddle is ensconced deeply in lore in the area. There have been hundreds of theories over the years, but no one has admitted to it. This is Fairford's own Banksy. But what is the point of this, you may ask? Well, who knows? Someone with a bit of an ego, someone who likes a game, someone young, someone old. Or could it be multiple people? Could it be the village themselves? Either way, the riddle of Fairford Church Bells remains. But sometimes a riddle doesn't need to be solved. For more curious stories, why not watch this video next? Oh, and you can subscribe if you want to. That's always fun.